What is up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Camera Junkie live stream. My name's Luis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, where I remind you to upgrade your skills before your gear. If it's your first time here, welcome. Please be sure to introduce yourself into the chat so you can get the nice Camera Junkie crew welcome. And as tradition goes around here, the first thing that we do is go ahead and check out to see who are the first members of the crew in the chat. And if you're seeing this right now, you're probably saying, like, what are going on with Luis's colors right now? And that means that this is still set up for the camera that I had on here last week. So you know what? We're gonna go through it together, and we're gonna go show you a bit of the behind the scenes of how I do all of my colors with Ecamm. But at the same time, we're doing everything on a whim. I'm still taking care of dad duties for Aiden, so I'm gonna be doing that as well. So let's go ahead and go to the comment scene. Boop. See who are the first. If I seem a bit out of breath, it's because I am, so just bear with me. All right. We have Paul in the house saying greetings. We also have JP saying howdy, folks. Hope everyone's having a great Saturday and finishing off the year strong. Likewise, sir. We also have Gretchen, Grandma Goo in the house saying happy holidays. I like that. To the MCJ crew, Lewis and Aiden. Aiden, they're saying hi to you. One thing at a time, buddy. One thing at a time. Because Aiden he's the boss. All right, we also have Parker Jennings saying hello to everyone. And that's it for right now. So if you'll excuse me, so to speak, I'm just going to put the music back up a bit while I finish up Aiden's shake. God bless you, Aiden. All right. We're just about done here. I was doing Aiden duties when I realized we were like 3 minutes past the hour, and I was like, oh, crap. How time flies. Here you go. All right. So Aiden's taken care of. Now let's get back to it. Well, let's do the first thing, because the first thing that is happening right now is that these colors, I'm not agreeing with them too much. Now, just to give you a bit of information, this is the lens that I had mentioned, I believe, last week. This is the lens that I've been wanting to put on here. So this is my new 25 millimeter TT Artisan. Let me see if I got that name correct, because it's in here somewhere. It is the 25 millimeter f2. What did I do with it? Oh, man. Okay, then we'll just not worry about that. Well, this is the TT Artisan's f2. This is a 25 millimeter for the Sony E-mount. Manual, complete manual lens. I had featured it last week, but now it's what we're looking at. Switching from the Sony A7C Mark II with the 24 to 50 millimeter lens is what I had on here yesterday. That's what it feels like to me. Like, this week has been a bit crazy, but I meant what we did last week when I was highlighting this lens. But enough about that. Let me go ahead and move this back down over here, and let's go into live demo mode. Oh. All right, so you're seeing what I see here. All right, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the camera effects window. So I'm gonna close out some of these windows just so that, you know, those are not necessary right now, but I usually have them up. So my camera effects window right here, and just to give you a little bit of information, this is what we're gonna be playing with right here. So these color temperatures and tints, yeah, like the tints all the way to 50 and everything, that's not the best. That's why my colors are all out of whack. So how would I go about trying to get all of these colors to match my other cameras as best as possible? Right over here, I have a variety of different scenes. And one of them is called the producer, right? The producer is one of my very few that are unlocked scenes that allow me to do everything that I want. So this is just camera controls. So now I just highlight this camera and I add it here. But what I want to do is I actually want to match the colors towards my other camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add that other camera, right? Using this, the camera switcher section inside the window. So I'm just going to add the plus button here. And now we have this view where you have my front and my side view. But what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to get the camera that we're dealing with right now to look the most like that one. So it's not off-putting when you switch scenes. First thing we're going to do is we're going to hit reset, right? And now we can see the reset kind of does a lot of the work for us. It kind of sets us on a neutral set, and all of our information here is set to 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start messing with the temperature, and we just start sliding it. We see to the right we get warmer, to the left we get cooler, and I like more towards the cool tones. Always live streaming at night, so I try to like embody like kind of like the night lights and that type of imagery, so to speak. And that's just what I like. I tend to like the cool more than the warm. So I'm going to add 15 there. We're going to now slide the tint because we want to add some like blood, right, to our picture. So it looks like we're not just what is it, a Namek from Dragon Ball Z, right? We were trying to get rid of some of that green. So as we can see, the more we slide to the tint, the more we can throw into that. And I think the tint being at 50 was what was throwing it off the most. So we're messing with the tint, okay? And 30 seems to be okay. Now we're gonna deal with saturation, like how much of the colors do we want them to, like how vibrant we want them to be. I usually push this to like around 5, nothing too dramatic, but you do want something a little bit extra than what is there right out of camera. Now the gamma is like your contrast slider, right? And it has to do with how rich or how deep your blacks are. So, you know, like all this information down here and things like that, that's where we're gonna see the difference in the gamma. So as you can see, it almost like darkens the entire image, but then that's when you can see that it really starts dealing with the colors themselves. So the gamma, I also have it usually like around 5. Let me see, I'm just going by eyeball here. It seems to be looking good right in this area, which is 5. Okay. That's the eyeball test. And then the brightness. I'm gonna add a little brightness to the overall scene to kind of help out with the exposure. That's too much. 8, 9, we'll leave it at 8. Perfect. And now it's not exact because you're dealing with 2 different cameras with 2 different lenses, and you know, like everything could be completely different, but at the same time this looks a lot better than what we had before. So now that that is nice and saved, I can just remove this camera, and this is what we're gonna see. So if I were to get out of live demo mode, now you can see the entirety of the scene, and now we have our pictures or our color set a little bit better within the picture. So now I can go back to my main shot, and now I have the border around it, but as you can see, the colors are fixed. And if I were to move over to the next scene, it's not like so off-putting, right? And I can just move over to the next scene, so on and so forth. Even though I think it's just, this is too bright right now as well. Okay, which, you know what? Go back to my main shot, hit one button right here, and voila. We have a color shift. Actually, you know what? The ceiling shouldn't be on. There we go. My ceiling lights. There you go. It's a lot better. And we can see, makes a huge difference. Boom. Done and done. All right. All right, and just to give you a little sneak peek, so then this is once again the behind the scenes, and now I can run through my scenes and all my colors are matched up. So that's what I do to basically kind of color match all my scenes as best as possible. I go into that basic producer mode. Oh man, I left the music up too high because I don't have my microphone inputs on screen. There we go. Oof. Hopefully you guys could hear me through that. That's right, I put the music up for Aiden stuff and then forgot to put it back down. All right, let me go see what you guys are. Oh, it doesn't look like there's any information in the chat, but guys, as well, we're just hanging out. Just to give you a bit of context, I've had one hell of a week. You know, life gets in the way of a lot of things a lot of times, but I always just love being here. So even though I didn't have the time to put something together like I normally do, I said today we're hanging out, and I thank you as always for taking the time and hanging out here with me, making this my favorite place to be. I've been feeling a little bit under the weather, and that has to do with, I guess, me overexerting myself for the previous week. A little bit of FYI, my father actually had a planned surgery. This was actually during the Thanksgiving holiday week. So that's actually like what I've been dealing with since back then. He had a bit of a complication during the surgery that it took longer than expected, and then the road to recovery it's been a bit bumpy. Let's say it hasn't been smooth sailings. So he was having some complications, visited back to the hospital. They sent him home again, and then he wanted a second opinion because things still weren't feeling well, and he went to another hospital that confirmed sort of the second opinion, saying that things were not looking too good, and now we're kind of playing it by ear. It might not be possible for another surgery for my father, and we're just hoping that things get better and he heals properly, so that we can see what would be the next step. So if you can keep him in your thoughts and prayers, it's highly appreciated. But once again, like, it was just this past week where he was resent for the like second or / third opinion, and now we're once again playing it by ear and trying to figure out kind of how we're gonna do all of this, because he just needs somebody to take care of him at this time. And I might have to spend some time at my father's house to help him recover. So FYI, just letting you guys know exactly what's been going on and also what might be coming up in the future. But as far as that, I would love to hear what you guys are up to as far as the holidays goes. What are your plans? What are you guys getting into? And if you guys are done with your holiday shopping, because I, like other years, will be relying a lot on Amazon for the shipping because I don't have the ability to just be running around and about shopping. And man, I could honestly tell you, I don't remember when was the last time I went into a mall during the holiday season to see like all the hysteria and stuff that happens during that time. But yeah, I'm not even gonna get into that aspect of it, but yeah, that's what I'm planning out for right now. On another note, things that I've been doing is, like, for those of you who've already seen me here, has been kind of like the 3D printing thing. Gretchen heard me mention this earlier today, but 3D printing has like completely transformed so many different aspects of my life, even to the point of simple as I 3D printed a new shower head that has transformed my shower experience. So even up to that nth degree. But bringing it back to cameras and things that I've been having a lot of fun with, a camera that I don't think I've mentioned too much here on the channel or on the live streams, but it was a simple kind of point and shoot camera that I got my hands on. It's called Camp Snap. right? These camp snap cameras, and what they are is that it's trying to bring things back to like the nostalgia of vintage film cameras, right? So a film camera, for those of you who might have never heard of what I'm talking about, if you are that young, there's no digital aspects of it. So there's no instant gratification. There's no LCD screen. So when you take a shot, you would have to wait for you to develop the film before you even see what the photo looks like. And at that point is when you would determine whether it was a good photo or a bad photo. But the thing that is most important about that is that you usually take a lot of good photos. The thing is, it's a delayed gratification, right? You have to kind of, it's like you're making yourself wait to have a more satisfactory response to the images after the fact. It's almost like a time capsule. So let me go get the camera, and we can talk about it some more. So this is the Camp Snap camera that I'm about to show you here, and it falls into that same type of mentality. It is a digital camera, basically like a one of those old school disposable film cameras that we used to have back in the day, those Kodaks. So it is like embodying that same type of experience, where it's just a film camera, point and shoot. Optics are, there's no digital optics, even though this is a digital camera. And what it did is that it removed the LCD screen and everything that would give you that form of instant gratification, and creating a delayed gratification experience with this camera. So let me go ahead and go to my overhead. Boom. And here we have it. Now, this is the small little camera, right? And you can see it is a tiny little piece of plastic, but what I was able to do, adding the 3D printing, is everything that you see here. I was able to add like a lens filter because there's a extension. So now I'm able to have a, a 49 millimeter filter thread on it. So I can add filters to the snap camera. That's what I call it, Camp Snap, but I call it the snap camera. It has a built-in flash, and if we go to the back, as you can see, it has no LCD screens. It just has this little LCD indicator. So you press the shutter button and press it and hold it. You'll hear 2 beeps, and then it'll let you know that I have 38 exposures on there. So I've taken 38 photos with this camera. And the cool part about this, to emphasize about it, is that I don't even remember which was the first photo that I've taken. So that's where I feel like this camera falls into like that time capsule type of thing, because there is no instant gratification. And once I reach past maybe like 100 exposures, it can hold up to 500. But if you take it to 100, then I'll be able to connect it via USB, download those images to see exactly what I've taken. And it's gonna be a good refresher, a reminder of the things that I've done while I've been in possession of this camera. So I was gifted this camera for Creator Camp, and since then I've just been snapping away certain photos. Excuse me. Oh. Let me get something to drink here. Excuse me. Ooh. But to get back to it, I don't even remember half of the photos that I've taken, and that's kind of like the nostalgic experience that I'm getting out of this camera. And I still haven't even seen the photos yet. I was speaking to someone, I think it was Gretchen, but I don't recall, about when I used to have my film cameras, right? We used to have 36 exposures to a roll of film. And I think that was like the max. It was either like 24, 28, and 36, if I remember correctly. But at the same time, a roll of film of 36 exposures would last me like the year, because there wasn't that many events that I was taking photos of myself. So the images themselves carried more weight, so to speak. They weren't just like disposable, and they all carried a memory of a place, a location, a situation, or an experience that I was like dealing with that I wanted to remember. And that's what I've been doing with this camera itself as well. I've been just taking those like little experiences, seeing a shot of an angle of something that I want to remember, and then snapping a picture. So I've been using it while I've been driving, right? So I've been just having it in the car, and it's been really cool that if I just see something halfway interesting, I'm just able to just grab it and snap it. Now, the 3D print, I think, came out amazing, because it is this entire base down here at the bottom, including like with this little finger flare for holding it. And that's actually changed the experience completely, because it is extremely lightweight, very, and just being blunt, very cheap feeling camera, right? There's nothing about this that goes, ooh, like there's high quality. But once again, the value in this camera is in the experience on how you use it. So it's extremely lightweight. The battery seems to be pretty good, because it's not like there's a lot of electronics going on it. So I've only charged it one time, and having it on standby or on off mode most of the time allows it to just basically have this camera basically have a battery almost indefinitely, which is what also brings it back to kind of like the film experience, right? I was able to charge this camera one time, and that one time that I've charged it was the only time that I needed to charge it, right? The cool thing about like my old film cameras, that the roll of film would last me the year, but there was never any like time that I needed to recharge the camera because I needed battery, right? Everything was mechanical and functional. So whenever I needed it, it was there at the ready. And that's where this guy kind of falls in, right? We do have a lot more advanced cameras, of course, myself, but because of all the features that it has, it tends to drain the battery even more, asking more of the components, thus giving you less time to experience the camera itself. Now, that's when you see me rigging it out and adding these big, like 6800 milliamp hour batteries, so that I can have that recording experience even longer. But when it comes to photography, this little guy, even though I was thinking like, I don't really see myself using this camera, man, it's all about the experience. And if you can get into that, right, then I wouldn't hesitate on this camera. It's pretty interesting for that aspect. So it's definitely giving me all the feels and all the nostalgia of film photography in a basic little package. And I've been having a lot of fun with it just the same. So I can't wait to see. And you know what? I'll probably start talking about it. I'll probably just shoot some more photos for the remainder of this year. And then on January 1st, we'll see how many of these photos I got. I'll clear them out and then start with a blank slate, 0 images for 2025. And we'll see how it goes. I'll do 2 things with it now that we're talking about it, right? I'm going to recharge it to make sure that it has 100% charge. And then I'm going to clear the data on it, download the photos and start 2025 with this camera and have it be just like my little snap, my snap camera, so that I can just have it in multiple locations. Because I got to be honest, it's lightweightness, right? It being so, very cheap feeling and being very lightweight makes it very easy for you to carry, right? I could just carry this just about anywhere, and it doesn't really like pose a threat, Now, this file that I found to print was found on Maker World, which is where I've been finding all the things for my 3D printer. And once I saw this, and I was like, oh, I have this camera. I printed it out, and on the first print, it came out really well, at least for me, right? almost like a matte finish. Now I got some scratches on there because I've been using it, but it allows me to now carry a lens cap, which is something that I didn't have, and also add, like color filters or different things if I want to get a bit artistic with it. But that's what I've been doing with this little snap camera, and this is the guy that's like kind of been a good surprise for me when it comes to photography. Press the button again. It beeps one time and shuts off, and that's it for the snap camera. All right. Aiden's trying to get my attention, but he's distracted. So let's go back to it. I'd love to hear if you guys have any questions or anything like that. Or if, here's a better thing. What's the next camera that you're thinking about getting for yourself? Because as of right now, I could honestly tell you that I don't think I have a there are dream cameras, but I don't think that there's that actual need that I have when it comes to either video or photography right now, and that is such a huge blessing. Like the only thing that I can say is like, oh, I might get a better lens, right, or something like that. But as far as camera hardware needs, like I'm pretty much set, and I'm just very grateful for that. All right, so let's see what you guys are saying here. K-Wall's in the house, says we'll definitely keep you and your father lifted in prayers. Thank you very much. Paul saying the same thing, sending good thoughts. Thank you guys. It's been like a month that we've been dealing with it, but I try not to dwell on the negative things, so we're just working through it and keeping a positive mindset. But thank you guys, and that's why I said like this is the best part of my every week. Oh, I'm still in live demo mode. Let me get out of here. As you can see, I'm a bit off this week. Boop. All right, back to the regular scheduled programming. Says I dropped off my film from camp last Wednesday. Should get the pictures back on Monday, Tuesday. Oh, you see, that's so cool talking about that. Hey, John's in the house saying hello to the crew. Yeah, I think as you can tell, like I'm even wearing a hoodie right now, and I got the AC going, and I got a bit of a like sweat on my brow because I'm not feeling 100%, guys. It's like I want to have the AC on, but if I turn on the AC, then I get cold too fast, and then I will turn it down. So then I have to turn it back up because it got hot. So then I'm putting on the hoodie so that it's cold, but yet I'm still not like shivering. And that's all like super weird, especially when it's like 70 degrees outside in Miami. And it's like, that's how I know that I'm like a little bit under the weather, because of the simple fact that this is not normal for me. That and the runny nose. But that's where we're at. What's up, Kevin? Saying hello to everyone. Making it in last minute. But at the same time, guys, I wasn't able to set things up this week for the live stream. So if you guys have any questions, and I really do mean any questions whatsoever, if you ever had any questions whatsoever, something maybe even personal about me, about photography, cameras, or anything like that, shoot it into the chat, because today we're going to turn it into a Q&A for the last little bit, because I don't have a cities gone. We're winging it today. We are winging it. We're doing it as a hangout, and I'm taking this one for me, guys, because I kind of need it. You guys are like the most fun to hang out with, and just, yeah, you guys make this my favorite place to be week in and week out. So even if I'm not feeling good, this is the place where I want to be. So thank you, guys. Thank you, Kevin. Says hope to get feeling better soon. Yeah, it's just been sneaking up, but it's mostly like exhaustion, right? Like over exuding myself, and I know it. That's usually what happens. Just been running around between hospitals and hospitals for like mostly last week and like over the weekend, right? But with everything else that I needed to do, kind of haven't given my body a chance to recover. And that's basically where I'm at. So Oh, so Kevin's into the 3D printing as well, which is, look, I gotta mention that's super cool that I got into 3D printing and it just like inspired Kevin. It inspired Doc Rock. Doc Rock got a 3D printer, and another friend of ours, Jeremy, uh, the Cajun, Rainy Cajun. I was gonna say not raging. I was like, why is that name? But that's just everything that's going on with my brain today. There's a bit of fog up there. But Rainy Cajun, Jeremy, he also has like this big setup printer, and just like for me getting my stuff going, it's inspired them to start doing 3D printing as well. Kevin here says he's got his first two benchies printed, getting started with some mods for the A1. That is so cool, man. Well, congrats on your new 3D printer. You want to hear something funny? I went straight into printing, right? And I didn't even print a benchy. Like that might be my thing. Like I don't have that boat anywhere around here because I've even seen YouTube videos of people 3D printing the benchy boat, but like big enough so that they can like take it out on the like on a lake and stuff like that. It's just hilarious the things that they've done with that. But it's funny, I haven't printed a benchy. I'll show you what was the first thing I printed. It is the scraper tool. So this was built into the SD card in my A1 Mini, and I was like, this is what I'm gonna print as my first test print. And as you can see, I've gotten good use out of it, just scraping a bunch of things off of that. So Bamboo Lab, little mini scraper tool that was built into the printer itself, and that was the first thing. So I skipped benchy and I went to all those other things, and now like I had mentioned to Gretchen and earlier on the stream, but I'm saying it again for you, Kevin. I even printed out a shower head that's changed my shower experience. So even to that degree. All right, so let's see. Gretchen says, I wasn't able to expose all 36 images. Yes, Aiden, come here. People want to say hi to you. People want to say hi to you because you're my favorite, but you're their favorite too. So say hi. Hi, everybody's. This is Aiden. Trying to grab all my attention. Boy, you're looking scruffy, a little dirty right now. Like a boy getting into all his things. Where are you going? This guy obviously doesn't make things easier for dad when it comes to being exhausted. Because right now, if I want to like lay down to take a nap so that I can actually recover just a bit, right? Saying, you know what, like you don't have all day to put your phone on the charger, but you got good 5 minutes to get yourself some extra juice. This dude comes and he starts just like, hey, it's playtime. And that's when he jumps all over me and starts poking me in the eyes and everything. And I have to kind of like fend him off for like a good 5, maybe 10 minutes before I could actually take my nap. Give me. And now he's asking for his iPad change. All right, let's see what we're going to get into here. There we go. Have fun. That should buy me another 20 minutes. Okay. Nope. Not even 20 seconds. I got the application wrong. Oh. Here we go. Let's see this. It's not as easy as it looks because some of you know that this guy's been hacking the iPad. So I have to set restrictions with guided access because if not, he starts sending emails and airdropping messages and stuff right out of the iPad. Okay, so Gretchen was saying she wasn't able to expose all 36 images on the film. I had to rewind and take it through airport. Oh, that's right. You were mentioning this in class. It says I only got 25 images. Yeah, that kind of sucks, but man, and that goes to show you, like, now that I that was just me recalling. I was like, man, when I was younger and I used to have that, like, it was like the camera that I had for the events through the year. So whenever there was a birthday party or something like that, quinceañera, events like that, holidays, that's when I would be taking pictures. So Kevin says this one is so much better than my last try to get into 3D printing world. Oh yeah, this is the way to do it, man. I can't even emphasize. I've learned so much, and that's just because that's the type of person that I am. So I'm constantly going to be like nerding out different things like that. And it's basically a CNC machine. Right. So, for those of you who are thinking about 3D printing or anything like that, or just to nerd out a little bit on it, it's basically like a CNC machine. So once you understand that there's a tool path, right? And that same tool path is the same thing that you would use like in a CNC router machine, you get a much better concept of what's going on with the entirety of the thing. And once those things clicked, man, I've been printing so many different things now. I started off basic, right? And just to show you guys again, actually. For my red camera, right? This little piece right here that I made out of 3D printed. So that's this little like caddy system here for the lens, right? As you can see, I put a little bit of foam there so it's not hitting it directly on there, protecting the LCD. And that was like my first item print. Now I'm gonna tell you exactly how I did that and how I cheated it, right? And it comes to this. So this little Ecamm logo keychain 3D printed little item, right? As you can see, it's a keychain. It has a little hoop for like the little like the chain that you would put onto the actual keychain, right? Onto the ring. So this was the first thing that I was able to do. And there was an application on that same website called Maker World. And I was able to take a 2D image, right? A simple basic 2D image of the Ecamm logo. And I was able to make it into a 3D item. Now I could choose the height of the base and then the height of the actual like print on top of it. So, I could have extended this 50 millimeters. So it would have been like this long tube of the Ecamm E, except that wouldn't have looked good at all. But this was my first like kind of dabble with any type of CAD software. So what I did was I was like, you know what? When it comes to the camera aspect, right? And I wanted to create this part, I didn't know how to create it from scratch. So what I did is I kind of made a business card. Now, so you can see where my mind is, right? And I said, you know what? I'm going to create a business card into a keychain. And then instead of making it an Ecamm logo, I just put these two little blocks as the two items on my as you can say, my font, right, on this business card shape, right? And then I gave it the height that I wanted for the business card, and then the height of the letters themselves, which gave me this simple rudimentary sort of like shape and design. Threw it into the 3D printer and had my first 3D printed part. But to emphasize, what I did was I took an idea of basically a business card, right, into a 2D image, threw it into that Maker World program to make it 3D, and that was my first 3D printed part. Couple weeks down the line, down the road right now, where I'm at right now, I'm actually learning the program FreeCAD. So there's a lot of different programs out there. AutoCAD, Fusion 360 you can use. There's a variety of different programs, the one that's best for you. But I'm just scratching the surface on all this stuff. So I didn't want to invest in a lot of money into something that I wasn't sure if I was going to get the most out of it. So there is free versions of CAD software out there. One of them is called FreeCAD. Free, CAD. That's the one that I've just been learning. And oh my God, you can do so much with it. I am officially giving you guys the notice. I'm officially building out my little Stream Deck holder in AutoCAD or FreeCAD, correction, in FreeCAD, and pretty soon I'm gonna have my first like official, fully from scratch 3D printed part, and I'm really excited about it because like Batman, this is just another tool in the utility belt, right? Another skill that I've learned. And the crazy thing is that this applies to, just like I had mentioned before, way more than just 3D printing, right? Using and learning CAD is something that you can use for anything, for appliances, for automotive, for just anything in your heart's content. And because of it, now I'm just like, I have this whole new, like a whole new area of possibilities, right? Of things that I can absolutely do on my own when it comes to creating and prototyping parts. I just can. And something as simple as a little caddy for your LCD screen protector on the side of your camera, something as simple as a keychain, to having things a lot more extravagant and allowing my mind to go wild. I've mentioned here before plenty of times, I'm a Lego kid, right? I've always been into Lego and like that type of, creative aspect. When I was a child, like for the majority of my youth, all my family members did was just buy me a new Lego set, right? Because it really didn't matter. It would just be in addition to what I already had, and I had plenty, and it was something that I just enjoyed a lot as a child. And because of it, this is like the adult version of Lego. Like, that's the best way that I can put it. Like, there's a lot of cool aspects of it, right? When you're dealing with the tool head path and all these things, that you can find that like soothing and like calming, just watching the printer do its thing. That's a whole nother aspect, right? That's almost like the ASMR aspect of 3D printing. But the fact of like the skills that I've already learned and the way that I know that I'll be able to apply them in the future, it's just next level. The only thing that I can say, and this is strictly to myself, right, is that I'm upset that I didn't get into it sooner, because the 3D printing experience has just taught me so much already. And now it's starting to open up the world of me learning a completely different program in FreeCAD that is just the FreeCAD aspect, because it's the motivation for me to actually learn the program, so to speak, right? The 3D printer has lit the fire for me to learn a program that I've been wanting to learn for many years and always been putting it off. And I've just seen a couple of videos, and I literally mean like 2 videos on learning this program, FreeCAD, on this beautiful program or platform that we're using right now, University of YouTube. And now I feel like, oh my God, I can just basically create anything to my heart's content. And it's like, just to emphasize to you guys, right? We're nerding out on this tonight. I think of anything now, and I literally mean anything, and I'm like, oh, I can just make it better or make it customize it to exactly what I need. So, for example, it could be anything, honestly, but let's just say like you got something from IKEA, right? And you're putting it together, and one of those little, plastic pieces that come in the box is missing, or you broke it accidentally, and now you're like SOL, and you're like, man, do I have to drive all the way back to IKEA to get a replacement little plastic notch before I could finish putting this piece of furniture together? Like, nope. It's something as simple as like, even if you can't find what it is that you're looking for on these, pre-made applications, because something that simple, most likely you just type in the part that you're missing into Maker World, and somebody has already come across that problem and allows you to just download, print it out, and it's like repairs on demand. And then you have the part and you can finish putting your IKEA dresser together, right? It's something that simple, that minuscule, but knowing that even if that weren't available on Maker World, I can go into FreeCAD and make the part as if I were IKEA from scratch, then send it to the printer, and after time I will have the same exact thing that I need, saving me a lot of time and energy. And this is almost like, it is the next level of instant gratification. It is like, if you thought, having Amazon, right, being able to click on something, purchase it, and to my experience here in South Florida, there's been times that I ordered something at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and it's at my house at 5 o'clock p.m. Like within 3 hours of me ordering something on Amazon, I've had it in my hand. That is next level, because it almost takes me 2 hours to get in and out of the house with Aiden. So just to set that whole thing up in motion before I even hit the road, that's almost like 2 hours for me. And I can, by the click of a mouse, have something brought to me, delivered that I need, saving me a bunch of time, energy, and effort. And that's the instant gratification of Amazon. And this takes it to like that next level, right? Because it can literally be anything. And I'll be like, oh, you know what? I can download it and print it. And if not, I can then jump into AutoCAD or FreeCAD. I always say AutoCAD because that's the one that I kind of resonate to. But FreeCAD, and make it myself if it doesn't exist. I'm telling you, like, so many different things. And Kevin, this is for Kevin in particular because we're closing out the night. I've been trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to store my filament, right? Because I don't want it to get dry. We can't have moisture in it, so it can't be picking up humidity. You and Doc Rock mentioned desiccant, right? So I got me the industrial 8-pound size of the silica gel, right? And then I went to see how am I going to use that desiccant with my actual like filaments and how I'm going to keep them together. So I went on Maker World, and right away something popped up when I just typed in the word desiccant to see like desiccant containers, so on and so forth. And it just sparked something, because the first thing that popped up was something that I already own. These are the 4-liter Amazon like cereal containers that I use for Aiden cereals, snacks, like his Cheez-Its and everything like that. And this is how I distribute them. So this is something that I have already purchased and have in my home. So with that being said, one of the other files that I found, which was extremely cool, is this little bad boy right here. Now, this is a filament roller. So I'm just putting it up here, trying to elevate it. Put your filament, sits on top, and it rolls as is necessary, right? Even the bearings that go inside of this was 3D printed to show you. So that's what I'm telling you, like, guys, like, I was like, oh, I have this, but then I'm gonna need, like 608 bearings. Well, guess what? Maker World has files for 608 bearings, and these are with metal BBs. So like my metal BB gun, right? I just took the BBs from the metal like pellets, the 4.5 millimeter pellets, and that's what's inside of this bearing. So these bearings are in there. Even my airsoft, 6 millimeter BBs, I made some rollers out of that, right? As you can see, some bearings out of that. The only problem with these, they work very well, except the inner diameter of them isn't correct to the 608 bearing. So that's why I had to do the 4.5 millimeters. You can see the hole is just that much bigger, which this is the standard, which makes it fit on everything else out. So instead of having to go buy bearings from Amazon and waiting for them to be shipped, right, and they'll be like, we'll deliver them for you tomorrow, I can literally send like 12 of these bearings to print on my printer, and in 20 minutes I have the bearings that I need for my little roller. So now that's cool and all, but if you can see, this little mesh area in the back is actually a storage container, and this is where you would load your desiccant. So you load the desiccant in there, close it up, right? Then this front part is actually something else. It's an added tweak, but I'll show you guys over here. Because after it's all said and done, what you're gonna do with your little desiccant roller, right? This is a little humidifier, like and temperature gauge, which I added to the front, which is another option, right? So now that we have this entire little package, it fits perfectly inside the 4-liter container, allowing you to place your filament, close it down, and keep it humidity controlled, temperature controlled, and like element controlled right out of these little containers. So I went on a spree, as you can see, printing them out, and then right off the top you're able to open it, and I already have the little things to be able to connect it to basically spool out the filament right out of these containers, so that whenever I want to change a color, a type, or anything like that, they're like locked in here safe. I'm just able to pull one out and then just bring it to the printer, connect it, and then start using that filament. So this might be something that you want to look into now that you got your printer, and if you want to avoid moisture being drawn on, because the same way that moisture gets attracted by desiccant, it's almost like the 3D printer filament is made of desiccant itself. So it will do the same properties, but then when you go to print it and it gets heated up, the reason why you don't want moisture is because water evaporates. So instead of just melting, it's going to pop. And then you'll see that when you're loading your filament and you're printing it, it's actually like popping these air bubbles, which then ruins your print, or the finish, so to speak, of the print. Ends up looking very like rough textured around the edges instead of being nice and smooth. So that's for you, Kevin. I already got like the majority of my filaments in there. As you can see, I got a couple of rollers and I just went crazy printing that and bearings. But that's like the world of 3D printing. Like, you can just literally make anything at your heart's desire. And if you already have a problem, which that's my thing, I try to be a problem solver. Maker World and 3D printing is, I couldn't recommend it anymore. He says, I only printed the bench to see how my PLA was. It's been sitting around for 2 years. Whoa. If you can get some use out of it, even after 2 years, that's really cool. It says, seems fine. Some super fine stringing, but nothing that won't clean up easily. Oh, yeah. And that's another thing. Like, there's a lot of these things that I'm going to say, like, I recommend this for 3D printing, which work perfectly. But at the same time, I already own them. Right? So this is a... what do you call this? A creme brulee torch, right? So this is a cooking utility, right? So it is so that you can just like fire up the sugar on like a creme brulee and things like that. Finishing touches. So this is a culinary torch, But when it comes to all those little stringy stuff like that, you just hit them up with this from a distance. The lighter can do it, but the lighter, propane fuel, the way that it comes out, it tends to leave like an ashy soot. So you wouldn't want to leave that onto your, onto your 3D printed stuff. So get one of these, fire them up from a distance, or the way that I do it while they're still like stuck onto the plate. I just heat them up right onto the plate and I get rid of all the extra stringy stuff. Boom. And I already had that, so I was like, awesome. Oh, Gretchen's got a question. Says, what is Benchy? Benchy is a little boat. So if you see anything as far as 3D printing or anything like that, you'll see a lot of people having a little like plastic 3D printed boat. And Benchy is shorthand for benchmark. And what you're trying to do is that you're trying to test to see how your printer is going. So you print this little boat, which is the benchmark, your little benchmark test, which is basically your control. It's just something that you're gonna print, and you're gonna see either how the filament is holding up, how like the layer adhesion, and it's just so that you can test all the properties of your 3D printed items in one item by just testing out the same exact thing and testing the quality of it. So whether you're changing like the diameters of like the extruders, whether it's like the height of the print or the adhesion, the strength, anything that you're trying to test, usually run the benchmark, which is the Benchy. So it's this little boat, and that's why I had mentioned that people have printed out the Benchy boat full size and taking it out to the lake, which I find hilarious because it's definitely cartoonish. It's not designed to actually be a functioning boat. It is designed to be a functioning benchmark for 3D printers, and I just find it hilarious that people have taken it to the extreme and 3D printed a full-size Benchy boat. Ernesto saying hello. How you doing, sir? Welcome. Says happy Saturday. How are you doing? He goes, a bunch of the pics on the film are of Aiden. Oh my God. Hold on, that's the comment. I didn't know that, Gretchen. That's so nice. That just warms my heart. Now I have to see them once you get them. So I'll be waiting for a message from you on Discord. Yep, Kevin basically said it in 2 sentences. Bench is a little boat that tests the settings of the filament of the printer, make sure that everything's working nicely together. See? Valerie's in the house saying hey to me. Hey, Lewis. Hey, everybody. What's up, mods? We also have Sly in the house saying hello, Lewis and crew. Hope everyone is having a great weekend. Likewise. Kevin says, I think I'm going to print an enclosure for my AMS light that has... Oh, you got the AMS light. Now, I don't have the space for it, but super glad that you got it. One thing that I will tell you, because you have the AMS, and this is, for those of you who know 3D printing, right? Everyone else, just cover your ears. Look into your extrusion settings, right? And try to eliminate as much of the waste as possible, because it's always going to do like the extruding program, and you're going to have a lot of wasted filament if you're constantly jumping from different colors on your AMS light. So that would be the only thing. I don't have the space for it, right? That's why I didn't pick one up. But at the same time, the way that I see it is that I'm just gonna let you guys know this isn't gonna be my only 3D printer. Like, I know in the future, as long as like I've been saying, oh, I want to get a 3D printer, I already know that this is just like entry level, and that this is the A1 mini, and I'm probably going to be picking up an A1 with an AMS in the future, right? I don't have the space for it, so it's nothing that's going to be done anytime soon. But definitely I already see the need for my second printer, because there's a lot of things that I want to print constantly, right? Like bearings, right? Like, oh, I need bearings now, and I'm doing this for a project, so I just want to throw this on there, and that's going to take a half an hour, right? Print and have them ready. But there's also a lot of prints that I'm starting to get into now that are taking hours. Like, there's a project that I want to do, and it's literally telling me, like, in print time on the bed alone is like 28 hours. I'm like, wow. So 28-hour print is gonna consume the printer for days. You understand? It's just gonna be going for days, and then that kind of eliminates me having the the instant gratification of being able to print something on demand, right? To just say, hey, I need bearings, I need this, I need that, I need a remote control holder, something, boom, 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 and send it out there, print it, that will be completely out of the picture. So it'll just create a long sort of speak of traffic jam of future projects, right? That are a lot smaller, that take 20 minutes, an hour max, comparative to something that's going to take the time of like 28 to 46 something prints. So that's exactly where I'm at. Gretchen also says, Aiden and I were hanging out while you were unloading things into the office, so we took pictures. Oh man, I can't wait to see them. That's awesome. You just made my day, Gretchen. I had no idea, but that just means the world to me. But everyone, you know what else means the world to me? You guys spending the time here week in and week out, hanging out here with this guy, right? Because, hey, you guys make this my favorite place to be. I love the fact that even though I do provide content for you guys week in and week out, it's also a place where I recognize that I'm also able to just be myself as a member of this community. And without you guys, it wouldn't even exist. So as always, I want to thank you for making this my favorite place to be. But if you haven't gotten the drift already, this was episode 210. So, yep, 210 episodes consecutively of the Camera Junkie live stream. And this is officially, I would say more officially, the 4-year mark, right? So we do everything by episodes, and every year there's 52 weeks in the year. But then I realized that, you know what? There's sometimes these leap years and things like that kind of tend to rear their face every once in a while. And excuse me. And that's where things get a little bit off whack, because my first live stream, right, that started this whole 4-year journey actually started on Aiden's birthday, right? It actually, it was like right there or the day after. It was like December 3rd or December 4th. So I actually think it was midnight, December 3rd. And, actually being the day of December 4th past the midnight hour. So it was right around there where the whole, thing. And that was when I was doing my 31 days challenge of going live every single day. And that was like the first Saturday. And that's what started this every Saturday thing that's been going on for 4 years now. And it actually started on Aiden's birthday, like I mentioned, and it was just Aiden's birthday 4 days ago. So he's officially 9 years old, and it's officially been 4 actual years, right, of the Camera Junkie live stream. And I want to thank you guys always for making this the place where I want to be. So everyone, have a great week. This was it. We did it. Episode 210. So that's 210 episodes. If you're watching this for the first time and you're like, 210 is like exactly. So please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, so that you can get the notification of next week's live stream, which would be episode 211, happening right here, same time, same place, on the Mr. Camera Junkie YouTube channel. So take care of yourselves and each other, and I can't wait to see all of your smiling faces. Even you, Yolanda, you just snuck in the last minute saying hello. See all of your smiling faces right here as we do it all over again for episode 210 of the Camera Junkie live stream. So everyone, take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you next time. Talk to you.